considering the lack of overall real estate there is to give over in a lot of these rounds. First two bans already off the board. Method start on the defensive side this time around and do exactly what they did in our previous map. They take out Nook. GGG Academy, however, will take out Dokkaebi instead of the Ying that we saw them remove earlier.
Maybe they want to use the Ying. Might be what they
I'd
do.
like to see that, actually.
Channel the chaos. What we'd like to see. The people want to see Nizami getting taken off the board. Nizami can be pretty dang powerful on certain maps, and I would say this is one of them. Chalet is another one. And they didn't necessarily deal with it all too well. So I'd say the Nizami, quite nice. So we'll see what Method does decide to bring out as well. Zero Valkyrie. Also a pretty standard ban, I'd say. So nothing too crazy on these bans. I think we'll get a pretty standard game of Border here.
Ooh, I like non-standard games. They're much more fun. Personal opinion, obviously, but at the same time, those more standard games really show a team and how well they can adjust when everything is as one would expect. Now, obviously, in these more standard matches, you can see teams bring in something new. For instance, Rethinking is bringing in the Brava, at least as an introductory selection. The defensive side, I don't see any outliers, really, especially considering, surprisingly enough, on that defensive side, they are indeed choosing the most played site on Border, that of course being Armory Archives. They're not bringing anything really out of the blue. I think the extent would maybe be the Frost, but even then, you usually see the Frost on Bathroom Tellers anyway.
Yeah, you do, just because of what she can provide. You also normally see a castle being brought out a lot of the times, but not being brought out. Pretty, I don't know. I like it because you have the shield to work with, which you typically see in 90, which it has yet to be placed down, so we'll see where that goes. And Amira on this little spot that I know a lot of people call Canadian. From way back in the day, that spot has been played even before the change, so I know that call is quite often. I've always wondered what teams do. Like, for instance, like people who have kind of like been up and playing Siege for so long and playing comp, and then all of a sudden, like for instance, like let's say Gavin, right? He's been playing comp for so long, and maybe his teams have always called that spot Canadian. Then all of a sudden, you're playing with Canadian. Like, what do you call it then? Like, do they still call it Canadian? They have a different name.
Call it you.
You.
Assuming they're talking to Canadian, they should call it Canadian. If they're talking against Canadian, or if they're playing against Canadian, they're talking. Oh, they're playing on Frost. That would be a weird call out. Oh yeah, they're playing on operator name here. Anyway, we'll move on. Defensive side for Method, really, again, nothing out of the blue. Setup-wise, operator selection-wise, nor current positional-wise. I do like the setup that Oloid has here around CCTV. This will remove a decent bit of time from the G Academy attack. Removing loading, maybe not doing so much, as the Jaeger's taken up the board early. Good opening kill and a good bit of real estate for them to work off of, as well as Turbo's already walking in towards that break side, is waiting in the waiting balcony, and look at that, Rethinking a follow-up onto Drix. Problems mounting, but Spy does relieve some of the pressure with a kill across onto Rethinking, as there's at least one refrag here for the defense.
And that's a good refrag to have as well, just because of the buck below, and Nyx finds another one, a big kill from him, and now evening out the odds, a couple of picks going back, but Rethinking being below would be a big pick to have just because of what the buck can do on that vertical play, and just providing a lot of pressure, and kills still going back and forth. Chapai finding his second, and big picks to get as Karn ends up being taken down, not being able to open up these long angles, but Wi-Fi having a couple of shots right here as he goes in, but Afer has now found himself in a very good spot to watch this cross, as Wi-Fi has the case right here, and if he can get to a good area for this bomb and end up being placed down, it would be great, but shouldn't necessarily be easy to do just because of these holes, and Nyx shooting with these bullets from the Vector. Not the best gun to be taking these engagements with, but it's really just going to be down to Wi-Fi if he can get himself into this site right here.
Wi-Fi's walking in, has been seen, but the kill is there. It's actually a cross onto Spy. Nyx still safe for the time being. C4 in hand, should they require it, but they are being held on that cross I was talking about, across towards Fountain. There's the C4, it does miss, and should get shot off of that top wall. It gets cool enough, at least an avenue of attack in for Nyx, but they're being held from both sides, and as soon as they stand up, body drops as Afer finds a follow-up kill. Both of the final two kills go the way of the Ash, as the opening round goes GGG Academy's way.
Yeah, and Afer getting that pick was really, really huge. That first pick in that 2v2. just to really allow Wi-Fi to get into the site and put that bomb down. It felt like, we said it the second he ends up getting in. Afer does have the cross. He's in a pretty powerful position to do so, and able to find that kill, open up that lane for Wi-Fi to get into that corner, start putting that bomb down, and leaving Nyx not in the best spot to be able to win it, as he did miss his C4 as well. And much different GGG that we're seeing, but one that we expected to see just from how their playstyle really suits this map.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
Now GGG Academy looking pretty good to start things off, but Method making some adjustments. I was talking about the Frost usually being played around towards this bathroom tower side. You mentioned the Castle, both of those being brought here in our second round of play. But being brought, as the Cardiac Johnson may very well be deployed. What's your opinion of the Pulse here on the bottom floor? Because, I mean, obviously it could work, verticality being what it is, but more often than not, you don't see it played exclusively for that verticality.
I think this is the one site that I think you would see the Pulse a lot, just because it can provide a lot of value, just because, you play that Pulse inside of events, or a workshop, I should say, and it can really allow yourself to get maybe a C4 kill, or just allow your teammates that are upstairs holding the office side really, well, you have that information, just continue to feed to your teammates, and that can help a lot on just reacting to what the push is upstairs. And Turbo taking some damage from, I don't know what, I would assume his teammate?
Thin air.
Thin air. I mean, it can be quite toxic in this area of the world.
I need to reload.
Absolute heater from Joe there. Method's defensive side trying to be about as toxic as they could find. Ironically, not bringing a smoke through either of our first two rounds is honestly you'd expect on probably both of them, all things considered. Drix try to run out. Nobody's in that general vicinity, so instead they'll have to back away. They did see somebody on that initial peak. Saw a second person on the second peak as well. What do? Look for his third swing? They do! And they find a kill off the back of it, but Afer shuts it down. Afer fragging out 4 kills thus far through just a round and change. Looking pretty good to start off here on Poker.
Yeah, much better start for him on this map than Chalet. He started to wake up, really get warm, and GGG Academy, it is an even man count, but they have a lot of the map right now, which is a very good thing for them, and we'll see if they can build off of that properly, as I think the hatch is... No, it is not soft, but Karn should be able to get that for free, as there is no Cade, nothing on that hatch, nothing preventing them from doing so. It is going to get open, and as long as they can clear these players out from bathroom and get a little bit of vertical play in order, they should be able to walk in just freely, as that castle does not help the defense in this specific scenario, as Afer able to take some space, and I'm not sure that they know that there is a player right there, and some site info coming in would be nice for this team so that Afer can really do his job at being able to find these picks in sight and end up clearing it out. But he's just moving from side to side, so Aquatic has to execute now, starting to come in, Dan.
That going down as well inside a bathroom, I believe. Afer now walking forward, dropped out, but they go 1-for-1. A direct trade between the two, and a 2v3 now required. As Spy has to get back onto the site, worried about the rappel, and correctly so. The upside down rappel, you can see it, but as soon as Spy walks, they should be able to be taken out from up above. There's the shots, but it's Wi-Fi to win the fight. A follow-up from that upside down vertical rappel as well. GGG Academy. A clean as flash themselves in, get the diffuser down, and force the reposition straight into the crossfire. Method are torn apart, and GGG Academy make it 2-0.
I mean, if Shapai's going to play across the map, why bring the Pulse? He's in the one area of the map that is just, he's useless, and he's just sitting there. What he needs to do is be in workshop. He needs to be in bathroom, feed the information for their team, because he is sitting in customs, and that's not a place where he's really useful at all. And he needs to be in a place where that information matters. A C4 there could have been the difference at finding that opening kill, but not in that situation at all. And it's just, it's a little baffling to me in that sense, that if you're going to bring that information, you better be using it. Otherwise, you're just useless on the map, and that position is good. You need a player in customs, but it should just not be your pulse.
Didn't, but it was. Method need to make some adjustments. We were talking about win conditions for GGG Academy. Honestly, winning Chalet would have looked really good for them, but considering how well they've played thus far here on Border, it looks like a completely different team. You talked about them playing 3 theme parks. I think I understand that 25% win rate now, at least on the attacking side, but they need to find something to do otherwise, because this attacking side's looking good, but I think Method can make some adjustments. You're already seeing them. The Mozzie on the board instead of that Pulse. Everybody else staying really carbon copies. Not too many changes in there, but still, GGG Academy bringing in something closely similar. The extent of the changes we're seeing, nothing actually. They didn't change a single op.
Yeah, and it looks like they may be holding the upstairs a little bit harder, just because with that Mozzie, it should allow a little bit of a stalling process on the droning, should slow it down a little bit, and that can waste a little bit more time and force GGG to maybe execute with less time. Maybe that makes it a little more sloppy, but we'll see how that kind of plays out. As you see, the kind of impact that it's having is a minute has gone down and nothing has really happened. As Shapai now also finds a kill on that balcony, and Afer finding a big engagement here, but Drix finding 2 big ones. Shapai with his second on the round, and it looks like, Dan, those adjustments have paid off for them.
Switch, mainly in their aggression, works out nearly perfectly. Drix a clean double as they swung on both sides of the pillar. Turbo playing Shadows, finds damage on the Spy, but not actually the kill. Still a 1v5. This one's basically a round ender already. It's just a question of how much damage Turbo can do. Really inconsequential, grand scheme of things. Let's be real with each other here. Nade, even over top, won't even hit anything but thin air. Nobody's even in the room. But it's just a matter of whether Turbo can actually find the kills here, and I don't think it's going to happen. Now, GGG Academy have to work towards the next round, because they have to figure out what the heck went. Notably, it doesn't particularly help, but clearing out players with utility, rather than just information, as Spy finds a 3K, Method, clean readjustment, and that's the switch-up I was talking about.
I wouldn't even just say information. I'd say that the lack thereof, just because I think that was the whole point of bringing that Mozzie, was to get rid of that information, that hard information, and prevent GGG from really knowing what they wanted to do to get rid of the players. Just because when you have that hard information, it makes it really easy for instance, a support player to coordinate a push onto getting that kill, or if, you know, the entry gets that information, he now knows what specifically he wants to do, because he has a hot information basically on that person. And without that hot information, it kind of has you going in blind. You don't know specifically what angle you're supposed to be peeking, and when someone's peeking you at the speed of light, that information is quite useful. And with that Mozzie coming in, that is the denial of that information, and a nice little adjustment from them. And Shapai, I was just giving him a really hard time for that last round, but off the back of what he did right there, a big adjustment to be made, as well as the placement of those mirrors from
10 seconds insertion.
All in all, decent switches for Method. Honestly, exactly what they needed. And now, GGG Academy have to make some switches of their own. You were talking about possibly bringing the Ying, considering they didn't ban it this time around. That's exactly what they're looking to do, as Method will free Archives for the first time since round number 1. Spy looking to do the run out I love near these stairs towards construction. There are 2 players on the outside of it, actually a third, but they may very well be watching it. A late run out could be fortuitous, but no, Spy's just going to wait and instead hold the peak towards stairs. They'll back away, making sure that better safe than sorry here on the defensive side.
Yeah, I think we all know how important opening pick can be sometimes, especially on a small map like this. It's not as important as like a map like Chalet, for instance, but it's still pretty dang important on an attacker side of map, and we'll see how that goes. It's good discipline from them, but it really is Method's job to get aggressive and find that opening pick, as Shapai is able to do just that. That is the second round in a row that he has found some action early, as Afer starting to take some damage. Does find a kill. Shapai wants more, continuing to run out. Wi-Fi finds one from somewhere else completely, as Rethinking is actually starting to put the bomb down. I think is Karn now in sight. Rethinking ends up going down, but Karn has just found himself inside of Armory as he's able to take one player down, not before ending on the ground himself from Oloid, and that leaves Wi-Fi in a 1v4.
Oh, and the play from Drix as well, loading also inside of the site in the opposing side. Rethinking thought he was safe with the Talon shields out, the smoke's up, but it just wasn't the case. Wi-Fi has made a decent bit of noise. They are going to get clotheslined from the side, and Drix will remove their head from the rest of their body. Decapitation seems to be the recipe for success here on the Method defense, as they adjust and do so fairly well, considering they've brought 2 rounds right back.
Yeah, I mean, the adjustments came in. You'd expect them to happen, and now it's on GGG's hands to make the adjustments right on back. The little bit of a chess match. We'll see who ends up winning this, and a Tachanka. Interesting.
I love this. Hold up.
Interesting.
You can hear me. But if we could take a look at Tachanka, figure out what gun they're bringing. For a myriad of different reasons. Number one, the DP-27 hasn't been nerfed, but the 9x9 VSN specifically on Tachanka now has a 1.5 and a 2.0. That conversation's gone. They are bringing the DP-27. But instead of having, I believe, 17 Shumika grenades, they're now up to 20, albeit smaller mag size. It's down to 5. But that's so much more long-term control you have on the defensive side that otherwise you wouldn't really be worried about. And now playing with the DP-27, you can see they're just opening up everything in this bottom floor. I honestly love this strat, with or without the 9x9, because it allows you to open everything up and still play for those long sight lines, and obviously, you still be happy.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah, a lot of time wasting, I guess, and
5 seconds to go.
maybe, you know, the Tachanka with that little flame boom booms can really deny a lot of space from very, very deep. There is a lot of range on those things, and with opening up that entirety of the wall, it's not like you need a specific angle. You can be just hucking them things, denying quite a bit of space in that site, but I think that's not necessarily, you know, as viable, I guess the word is, if GGG Academy do get control of the entirety of upstairs. It really just depends on how much control GGG does opt to go for on the upstairs side of the map, and how willing Method is to give it up.
Yoloid playing verticality. Basically everybody's up here for Method, bar 2 players obviously, who are spread out a little bit more horizontally. I like the setup for them again. The adjustments are there, playing for a little bit more aggression on this defensive side while still managing their time fairly well. Karn holding the angle from long range, but will instead fall back off of it. Drake's not done yet. First kill across onto Turbo. Not done. They will be downed as Aether finds a refrag, but look at that. They're taken out just the same. Spy from behind, and another 4v3 early.
They just need more information, it feels like, if they didn't have enough, but they're still finding kills as Wi-Fi.
What?
Just walks straight into Tellers, finds his second kill. I'm sure he just spotted that player right there as well, and Wi-Fi in such a good spot, but there is still a player above him. It's Oloid. Has this hatch to work with, so he can potentially see that rotate. Wi-Fi does end up getting taken down, but off the back of that play, it completely opens up this round for the rest of his team.
Well, Karn, long angle again, this time trying to drop down loading, who does not have the 1.5 on that 9x9 VSN anymore. As of, again, 9 a.m. this morning on the East Coast, that's been removed. The Capcan, only living with 1x scopes, but apparently living fairly well for it. Rethinking and Karn, both walking around with 1 point, but they don't have a real easy way onto the site. Obviously, you can try and push in through here, but loading, playing proactive, finds the kill, and Rethinking now has to recollect that diffuser, of which has now been dropped on the ground, finally picked up, but they have to now go onto the site. They drop loading, expecting the hole, but now down to a 1v1 with Oloid still up above.
Yeah, and depending on what information they have, Rethinking can really just get a bomb down as the entirety of this wall open. It's going to make it really tough to get a bomb down, and there's a lot of vert going on, but he looks like he's going to try and go for maybe a fence plant. Maybe right under the hatch, actually, if they have a little bit of information, perhaps, on this play, as he gets a lot of damage taken, and now he's trapped in this corner. Oloid knows he has that information, everything he would need to clean out the round, and Oloid finds the kill as Rethinking unsuspecting of that angle and not able to do anything about it. Oh, Lloyd, a nice little clutch from him.
More problems mounting for GGG Academy. Remember, they won both of the first 2 rounds, Armory Archives and Bathroom Tellers back to back. Since then, they've lost the full rotation from Bathroom Tellers, Armory Archives, and then Ventilation Workshop. Now, Method looking to close out the half 4-2 on what is normally an attacker-sided map. Granted, neither of these teams attacker-sided in their statistics by any means, but GGG Academy have to look good on that side because their defense, while it's looked pretty good, you have to remember, it's been on the theme park, so it better look pretty good.
Yeah, and it's tough because this is a map that is attacker-sided, and it can be defender-sided just because even though, you know, it is attacker-sided, it is on the attackers to make the plays. And at this moment in time, they're not doing that. And Method have kind of figured that out and have started to play around that quite well. And, I mean, it is a big round. A difference between a 3-3 and a 4-2 attack split, or I should say defense split, is a very big difference on a map like Border that can swing so heavily either side. So we do see that castle come out on this site. It's not something we've had before, and it's something that I think won't matter all too much just because the player that ends up playing that window late round has been the Flores, so should be able to blow it up no problem. But they did struggle to take the upstairs the last time, and you see how many players are now upstairs committing to this upstairs hold for Method, and we'll see if that pays off again, but it has so far for them.
Trying another run out. I don't think they're done yet. I guarantee you Spy's going to try it again. They have to wait a few seconds because I think Afer's backed away, as they have. But still, obviously, a possibility for them to still peek this. And GGG Academy, again, are keeping their options open. I always love the early rounds from them. There are so many different avenues of attack. They at least prep to look good later. Of course, this north balcony, they're going towards east stairs. They were trying to prep CCTV. We've seen that a few times as well. They're not just discerning themselves to one specific option, of which, if it doesn't work, the round's already over. Well, that didn't work. That also didn't work. Okay, well, CCTV's off the board.
It's tough. They've just struggled to clear this player out of this position multiple times, whether it's Drix or Shapai. They've both just had their way. Just in one little position, not just one player, even two, not being able to clear that player out. And when that isn't the first time that that's happened, it's kind of concerning.
I think those concerns are going to be relinquished anytime soon, unfortunately, here, Joe. Is GGG Academy now in a 3v5. Their options now fairly limited, but not out of the window just yet. Spy gets a little over-aggressive, over-ambitious, one could say, as they walk back into where they currently held and are dead off the back of it. Wi-Fi, a reminder, this is not an Armory Archives defense. They have held this down fairly well, but they honestly don't need to, and Drix will back away off the back of it. They should be able to fall back to safety as well, because while it is a 4v3, GGG Academy have very little utility to use for the remainder of this round, and they still have to fully take laterally.
They do. And I think Method have put themselves in a pretty good position to win this round, but you kind of see the silhouettes going on. There isn't a lot going on, but Loading finds two upstairs on a nice flank.
What?
Make that three! Loading! Turning back the clock, getting into his old form, and he snags three in quick succession to close out their defensive split.
I think Loading was honestly just waiting there the entire time. They just didn't clear him whatsoever. They thought the top floor was clear. They had information that there was a mirror. There's like, there's no way that the mirror is still on the top floor after the remainder of their hold has been cleared. But they just didn't fall away. And the setup worked for Loading, dropping three players, all in fairly quick succession. The first two, I think, the most important. You find that first kill, you may get refragged, but the spray transfer there with that Vector in hand, and Method make it a 4-2 split, giving them seemingly every measurable advantage heading into this second half of play. The only disadvantage, it's not their map pick. That's all that GGG Academy have working for them.
Yeah. And still can be. Their attacks, as we've seen, haven't been great. And even though this can be attacker-sided, maybe their defenses can be fantastic. They have quite a high win rate on it, but I mean, what is it? What's 2 divided by 6? 33? 33%?
10 seconds to go.
Better than their normal split. So that's pretty good. Go GGG. Good heavens.
Attackers objective is
It looked at least a little bit better, but shorter terms will make that a possibility. Wi-Fi, I think, is going to try this run out. They will indeed. With a holographic in hand, they do about as much damage as they take. Almost exactly, as a matter of fact. I think they lose that battle by maybe 4 or 5 health, and that's it. It's all in all fairly inconsequential first fight. But Method on this attacking side are fairly happy with that. Spy is playing on the Ying, so they're just going to play back for information and to remove it. Granted, mostly visual information. Who doesn't like seeing or hearing anything? Everybody. But GGG Academy, their defensive side's fairly content with just playing patient for the time being. What's the plan here for Method? Are they going to try and go straight up the hatch? No way, right?
I think there's a way. Look at that. The smoke's coming in. The Ying's going through. They have the glass to work with. As Shapai does have that case in hand, but they're going to decide, after all that utility going through, they do not want to go for this. And Wi-Fi getting 1 kill, but Nick's finding one right back in the punch hole.
What?
Little bit cheeky from Turbo. Afer finds another one. A 4v2 out of nowhere for Triple G to work with, as Oloid and Loading are left on their lonesome to fight off almost all of the enemy team.
Loading, prepping those shots. You could see through the yellow smoke with yellow outlines of his own. Afer has to play a little bit conscious of that possibility, but Oloid really alone over towards this CC door. If they were to look behind them, they could find a kill. Loading finds one at a Karn, so they're dropped off that Mira. No C4 available. The extent of plant denial is a single toxic babe in the hands of Afer, and they're throwing it out. There's still 1 minute and 10 seconds left on the clock. Turbo's back on their peak hole shenanigans, but they may very well be taken out off the back of it. Remember, Loading is on that OTS, and Oloid is just holding W in. A 1v1 on the direct site. They need to worry about their flank, but they may not be focused too much on it. Turbo now readjusting towards the site itself. The shot's taken with the glass, but Loading wins the fight. A follow-up onto Rethinking, and Method bring back a 2v4 in just 60 seconds of time to extend the lead to 3.
Quite big. Loading going big at the end of the round once again to close it out. A 2v4 for them on that opening, and it looked like GGG had it. They were great. They looked oh so good, and then threw it away. We've seen that so many times from so many teams. Method did that last time, and here we are. 5-2. Method looking to close out this series, and you'd like to see their early round go a little bit better. I think, I don't know what exactly caused them to put the pause, the halt, stop sign on their original quick take, but I guess they were able to clean it up in the end, but it didn't go oh so well. So I think it's good that they are able to bring a round like that back, but a little concerning to me that they weren't able to work off of that original push all too well.
Now Method's attack. What do you have to change here? Because obviously that round wasn't the greatest from the start. Being torn apart a little bit from limb, from another limb, mainly with the EDDs that cost you a little earlier on. I would have liked to see an IQ selection here for Method, especially considering all that utility on the defensive side that relies on electronics. Mozzie Pests, obviously, maybe not, but I mean, those could be used in the Prismas, EDDs, and the visual information removal.
Yeah, and you have the Capcan this time, which I like. Did a good job the last time, got a kill out of it, and we'll see if we can find any more. Something that they do need in the Ying. Being pretty well utilized, I'd say, from Shapai. They weren't able to use it all too well the last time, even though it kind of faded out. I guess a lot of space as Strix does get that opening kill. It feels like now Method really stepping it up on these early engagements, but Karn finds that kill right back. A nice shot from him as the Glaz finding a pretty free kill as the plant can start to go down. It's Nyx putting that bomb down in a very close position. I don't think anyone's going to be able to do anything about it. Not able to find the kill. It's Loading able to find it. Nyx does end up going down, but Turbo, it's going to be tough to find these kills. The glass posted up on this window, making it very, very tough as they have to try and stick this plant as it's all down to Turbo to make it happen. Finds the kill, is loading, finds the second, it's loading again, putting the team on his back, closing out yet another round for Method as they put themselves onto series point.
Correct me if I'm wrong, that is 7 kills for loading in 2 round time, and Method are now on to map and match point because of it. They are not done kicking here in SFCL Season 6, and GGG have to face match point this time 4 times over, and just map point in the previous round, of which they saw 5 attempts at. Well, they would have, assuming they won straight through.
Yeah, I mean, loading is being the star player. I mean, you don't necessarily, and this is no shade, I don't mean this in a disrespectful way. It is because of his role, not because of him as a player. But you do not expect to see him be the one to pop off for your team, as you have Oloid, you have Drix, who has been able to do it. Even Shapai has had his moments in this game. You don't expect loading to be the guy, and when you have him shooting like this, it makes it very difficult to beat this team.
To be exact, by the way, it was 7 kills in 2 rounds. The 3K, all of which was found in the 2v4, and then of course we just saw the 4K from the window. 2 to open up the round and then 2 to close it. Granted, the 2 to close it were basically just formalities. He could have sneezed on them and they both would have died because of how low they were from previous engagements. Kind of from him as well, but still an applicable conversation. Method just looks clean and decisive. That's the most important part, especially on their defensive side, but now on their attack as well. Found a little chaotic, but now looking a little bit better, and then Nyx is domed on a spawn peak. That feels bad, man.
Bad man moment, but this is the moment last map that GGG Academy started to wake up a little bit, and maybe that'll happen again as they've netted themselves another opening pick. And a C4 going out not far enough. Gotta work on that orange strength a little bit as he's not able to find the kill, but Shapai starting to take a lot of damage. Afer looking for it.
Wow.
He's looking for it, and wow, he just hopped in!
He tried, and then he died. Valiant effort, but an unsuccessful one at least there for Oloid. No hero time around. Wi-Fi has information. If they want to try and send this, they could. But the problem is, it is being held in an upside-down rappel. That would be a wild bait, where you intentionally hop on a drone just to bait out a Solus, so you can try and find a kill. You're playing 9x9 VSN with a 2.0, because why the hell not? Wi-Fi does find the kill, but onto loading who was on the upside-down rappel. They are down. That nade around the corner I don't think is going to extend far enough. No, it does not get TV cash, but look at the HP! That's what? 25? 50? Well, make it less. They have a combined 50 health on GGG Academy.
Yeah, not very high if you ask me, and Karn putting that 2 times to the best use. And oh my god, he just ran through it! Shapai ends up getting taken down, rethinking saving Karn's life, as I'm sure he's very thankful, and Drix ends up getting the kill. And here we go. A 1v2, maybe a 1v3 opportunity for Drix to close out the map and the series. Is he a sneaky little snake going through cameras left and right, all that information coming through. And Dan, does he have what it takes to pull off the spectacular and close out this series in extraordinary fashion?
He certainly does, but the problem is, look, Karn still has 12 Shamika grenades left for 49 seconds of play, and as much as Drix may want to walk in, there's no way they expect the backside of TV to be occupied at this point in the round. They're going to die to the right. Afer's going to find the kill, and not with the shotgun, actually with the AUG A3 in their back pocket, but nonetheless, GGG Academy walk away with a round victory, and they were playing around utility just to make sure that the there was through.
Yeah, and look around for them. I mean, GGG is just kind of running around a little bit, and that can be good as long as they're winning their fights and finding the right opportunities to do so. And that round, they found the right opportunities. It was Wi-Fi picking those up and just going through left and right, and that's good from him. It's something we expect to see from them, and from a pug stack, it's just going to have to be them finding their opportunities, picking their moments, and they did just that in that round.
GGG Academy still have a large road to redemption here on Border. Again, best case scenario for them is OT into a map, and that would only send it on to Cafe as a second map. This is not a series winning situation for GGG Academy. It is a live situation in what was already a staying alive situation. PSA, this is the 1-2 bracket of round 4 of the Swiss stage. Loser of this of SFCL, winner will join the 3 others already guaranteed in round number 4, or round number 5, sorry. If I recall correctly, West Garfield Park and 2 others. I'm not checking right now. I have no idea what you're talking about. They are Make-A-Wish, Orbit, West Garfield Park. There we go.
Nice job. Good job from you. Hold on. Quite nice. Quite nice of you, and we don't gotta worry about all that right now as we're looking to see which one of these teams will be joining the ones just listed. But what I will say is Method has looked a little scary, and I think GGG has been very, very sloppy, which is something that we expected to see, but maybe not this sloppy, especially on a map like Border. But hey, an opportunity is Rethinking finds a kill. Oloid gets the trade, but Wi-Fi gonna go right back to find the kill as he downs that Ash. It's Wi-Fi just shooting at his demons, and he's just gonna go for the long rotate, go right back through Passport. What a smart rotation for Wi-Fi as he's able to get that kill and escape with his life.
Houdini is in the house, ladies and gentlemen, and his name is Wi-Fi. Ethernet connection seemingly required to get the heck out of Dodge on that one. Drix may be able to punish, and Wi-Fi does finally die, but Karn immediately finds a refrag, and GGG Academy retaining their man advantage, now still facing map and series point here on Border. Drix drones forward. Should be information should they look down the middle stairs. They will. That information is shut out. Good back out from Afer. Drix still wielding both of their nades, and oh my goodness, Drix is chasing. They were. And they're dead.
Tough. Turbo winning a big fight right there, and now all down to Loading, who has been the guy throughout the entirety of this series on that little semi-automatic sniper rifle that Glaz has, but this is going to be a very tough one for him to win. The smoke goes out as you can see through those smokes, as can Turbo with the Warden glasses, but this is just going to be a tough one to win as there's only a minute left, and Glaz's gun, not maybe the best gun for this situation. He's now going to start taking his fights right here, finds the first onto Afer as he's now lit down to 1 HP, still 45 seconds to work with, and giving himself a little bit of a sense of potential to win this round as he's now spotted right here. He finds the second. Loading, making this a 1v1. It's all down to Turbo to save it, but Turbo clutches it up. God dang it, it got scary.
My goodness, the heart rate on that one. You gotta feel for the GGG Academy squad, but the intimidation that Loading is putting forward, frag after frag after frag. They've already surpassed 15 kills. I believe that kill right there may have made it 16. In a map in which has barely gotten out of double digits in round speed. That was round 10, by the way. 1.6 or 1.5 KPR, whichever one it is. Loading is popping off. On a Glaz.
I mean, he's just a beast. Straight up. I don't know how else to put it. He's just been able to do it all, I guess, on this map, but I think the main issue is that they're not baiting hard enough. You know GGG is going to get up in your face on these defenses. They've done it time and time again. You need to punish them for that. They've not been able to do that. And, for instance, Wi-Fi on that rotation wasn't punished for his play right there. And he ended up getting taken down at one point. But still, like, that's not something that should be happening. And I think Method either have to really, really bait, or they just have to have someone spearhead and just walk into the map. But that's not very viable now, is it? They need to play for that first pick and just play kills. They want to try and play towards sight, and that's not something you necessarily should be doing, just because a lot of this is being fought away from sight, pretty far off of it, to be quite honest, especially in the CC area, top east area, which are kind of very big focal points on the map, but still, it's they're being given kills, and they're not really doing anything about it.
Oh, Wi-Fi was going to try running there. I'm honestly a little disappointed they didn't, considering what we saw in the previous round. Method playing a little bit more patient this time around, not aggressing as much as we've seen in rounds prior, because them on map point, either way, not the greatest of win rates. Last round we saw them winning 6-1, they just barely won 7-4. We had seen them winning 6-2, but they're now only winning 6-4. Nice opening kill though. Karn dropped Lesion off the board. Decent pickup, and a good fragging pickup as well, because Karn was looking to play a little bit more aggressive with that T5 in hand.
He was. The gun that can be pretty dang good, but the only concern is they haven't had any pressure onto Armory quite yet. That's going to allow these players to kind of do whatever they want upstairs. As Rethinking now gets taken down. That is 2 players from below getting killed, but Wi-Fi been the guy so far in these defenses. Finds a big kill, but Loading finds another one. He's going to go through that rotate. Wi-Fi finding the kill as he's been waking up, stepping up in a big way, but Nick's starting to put that bomb down, and Turbo going to be big here. That's a big kill for him. That bomb's still going down. He's not able to take him off of it, not even able to find the kill.
What?
Oh no, Nick's going down outside, but Wi-Fi finding both of them. That's 4 on the round, and GGG Academy pushing it to the limit. 12 rounds. What a clutch from Wi-Fi.
That should not have been required either. I don't know what the heck Turbo is shooting at. Maybe his mins after that fight. But Method, what a finish for them to be removed. You thought, oh, diffuser down, he's going to get out, and it's going to be a 1v2, 2v2 post plant? No. Wi-Fi's like, I have a P90 and a grudge. And Method are now facing what could be overtime should GGG Academy win what is the most played site on Border. Competitive match, unranked, or ranked play. All of them point to the exact same, which is kind of ironic considering if you play a quick match, you don't actually have a choice, yet it still somehow is the most played map or site.
Did not know that fact. Too much.
Actually,
I'm sure you do though, because you get absolutely destroyed in rank every time you play it.
all the time. It's atrocious.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, it's not for everyone. Everyone's a beast.
I talk about video games for a reason. I don't play them.
You play to have fun. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Although I don't know how getting absolutely tucked every day is fun, but to each their own.
It's not.
To each their own. But I believe the last time they went to the site, or at least one of the times they went here, is this only the second time? I'm correct on that, correct?
Yeah.
It is right, and the last time they were here, they got it down to a 4v2 in their favor. They just weren't able to close it out. So, from what we've seen from this site, a pretty confident one for me, I'd say, for GGG Academy. Only thing is that was off the back of a misplayed rush attempt from Method, and that's not what they're doing here. They're going for a little bit more of a take, an actual take here. And we'll see what that really does for them. But all of these players are on this office side, and it looks like they might actually go for this quick take. Kind of setting their drones up as they have the Bravo, but they still have that glass to work with and those smokes if they would like to use them. And they might actually go for this quick plant, but there is that Tachanka, which will make it quite difficult for them to just walk in there and get that bomb down, as there's going to be so much time wasted with those things.
They can start to get that diffuser down before the Shamika launchers come in, then they have a shot. But the problem is it's being held from so many different angles. You can see Wi-Fi from the back corner of lockers. By trying to push forward and gain some real estate towards 90, I believe they may have seen somebody long range. Nyx has this SLR in hand. I love this setup, but the problem is it could cost them a DMR fight. Now, they still win the fight because, you know, it's Nyx. He doesn't lose those. The problem is, now they're in a 2v4. We've seen them take these before, and Oloid was one of the two players. This time, Nyx has to be the hero, not loading. Or not loading.
There you go. Not loading.
Attackers recovered the diffuser.
Afer is in a very good spot here. I'm not sure that he's going to get spotted out. He does see the gun barrel now, and Afer finds the kill. It's all down to Oloid, and has been able to do it in the past, but this is quite the tall task, as he only has a minute to work with. an angle he's unsuspecting as Afer sends us to overtime.
You know, for both of these teams having supremely mid attacking win rates, they were pretty good on the attack, all things considered. What, 66% win rate for both of them? GGG Academy having 25% coming into things. If I do, that's pretty good. But, I mean, their attack needs to change, as Method will start on that side. And GGG Academy on the favorable defensive half now, as things stay the same. I think Method, even though they've been in front for seemingly ever in this series, they're finally on the back.
Yeah, it's a lot of rounds in a row that GGG has won, isn't it? And Loading has been the star player for them, but on their defenses, it was Shapai and Drix that were going crazy for them, and that's not happening anymore on their attacks. So, not great, I would say. And they need to change that. They need Shapai and Drix to really get on into it. It feels like the spearheading isn't happening that we typically see, and Drix can't do that on his own. He needs other players to step up in that department. But it really feels like GGG Academy has really woken up and starting to win these gunfights that they weren't winning at the beginning of this game.
He's woken up. Wi-Fi and Afer, the top two in that conversation. Karn's offered a lot of support in the background, mostly in utility. Turbo has been there in real niche situations to find important openers. That's where they've shown up to give early round support. Rethinking has really just been the consistent backbone, playing what we've seen as the Wamai. We saw in the previous round, they were picking up that Wamai again. It's really just about that consistency around the squad setup, and they've had that. They now just need more rounds, 2 of them to be specific, if they want to lock out Border and now send us to a third. But Wi-Fi dead first is not what they were looking for.
Yeah, Wi-Fi's been so impactful for them, especially a Solus going down. Not great, but Oloid taking a lot of damage from that, and it's going to be down to the rest of these players. Afer's been going well for them. Turbo's been doing quite well as well, and this Armory setup still holding strong as they still have control of the CC side, and it's really going to be down to Rethinking to go big in this round, and kind of on his own at the moment, and there's nobody on that little horseshoe area to really help him out. There is Afer to try and watch that break position as Loading takes a lot of damage from Afer right there, and Method slowing it down a lot as they know that all they need really in this round to win it is the CC control, so they are taking their time quite nicely.
Rethinking still stuck in this corner. No way out, at least not as of right now, and a good swing. Drix is there, support from Oloid, and a follow-up from Nyx onto Afer. The 2 VIPs have been taken care of, and a Rethinking drop just the same. Karn from behind, though, with a 2.0 on that 9x9, taking the patch notes to full effect, as they're not done just yet. Well, now he is. Drix will remove him, and Turbo's in a 1 versus 4. Not an easy by any means, but if you're going to have anybody, well, you'd want the Warden with the 1.5. Unfortunately, Oloid, long range, near pixel angle to hold towards metal. And the back of it, Method on to map and match point again.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of them going Armory, to say the least, but that's okay. I mean, all good. Do you have another opportunity?
I thought they were going customs expansions. Method, for a second, picked customs inspection, and I was really hoping for it. But no.
Not a lot of teams go there. I don't even think that's like actually the worst thing in the world. But you never see it. Which is interesting. But that's okay. We have a bathroom defense coming out from Method, a site that they looked pretty comfortable on for the most part later on in the game once they started committing more towards that upstairs room as they have the mirror now to work with and that castle once again. So very, very similar setup, it looks like, to what they had last time. And it's really going to be down to GGG Academy to figure out what went wrong and how they're going to want to fix this, because they didn't even get a chance to dissect this defense this last round, and they're going to have to try and figure out a way to do it this time because their backs are against the wall once again, and if they lose this round, their SFCL season, it's over, Dan.
The problem for Method, but GGG Academy, I still think are in this. Their attacking side wasn't abhorrent, but it just needed some work. And I think with the time on the defense side, they've had the time to readjust that mindset. And Method isn't bringing anything new. We've seen this specific setup a few times over. Nyx back on the castle, Spy back on the Oryx, Oloid, oh my gosh, a Frost. We haven't seen them play that 5 times thus far in this matchup. But it's down to how GGG Academy is able to adjust to the deep setup. We've seen them do so before. It's not like it's the end of the world for them, but the problem is if they can't clear out this top floor quickly as they have to, they may fall victim to another one of loading, playing in a corner, and then catching them off guard.
Did that Twitch drone get the Mira? It did. Great utility usage from Rethinking right there, as that Mira is open. It's still going to have an angle that watches a lot of it as that wall is reinforced, but that gives it a lot easier of really a take for GGG Academy, as Karn does find that kill just off the back of that Mirror being open, as that player did start to fall back, but the cutoff was there. A much better start for GGG on this attack as Shapai retakes that position, but not able to find the kill, and he has now put himself at a terrible spot. But Drix, off of that play, playing off of Shapai right here, he's sneaking his way up, and he should be good for at least one kill. The shot misses. He finds the first kill, finds the second, but Afer finds one in return. Rethinking gets one. He gets traded out. Afer taken down as well. Wi-Fi all down to you as he finds one kill, but has no idea where Nyx is. So much chaos happening at once as Nyx has it all down to him to close out this series.
At this point, it should be a game of hide and go seek. The problem is Wi-Fi has so much information gaining ability. Both Rotero drones as well. A flash forward. I'm not sure if that's going to land onto him. Instead, it lands onto himself. Nyx playing close range with the shorty in hand. AR-33 up against the Shupu shorty at close range. Can he find the kill? Nyx, first glance, decides to switch to the UMP and gets active with it. Method will close it out off the back of it. Long range Nyx turns into the nightmare that GGG were worried about, as they are eliminated from SFCL Season 6 and Method keep themselves alive.
Method do keep themselves alive, and